Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the most successful franchises in the NFL. Much has been made of Mike Tomlin's winning streak, which he has had 16 seasons consecutively where they've had at least a 500 record or better. The question is, can Kenny Pickett, who is now going to be the unquestioned starter of this team, continue that long-term success? The Steelers selected Kenny Pickett with the 20th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft. He was the first quarterback off the board in just a terrible quarterback class. Really, none of the quarterbacks deserved to be highly drafted. Pickett was the first one off the board. The next one came in the third round. And, I really wasn't a huge fan of Kenny Pickett coming out. I did think that he had a little bit of a limited upside. I liked his accuracy. I liked his decision making. Thought he was pretty good when it came to anticipation. But I just thought he had a limited upside due to a lack of arm strength. I thought his pocket awareness wasn't necessarily the best that I've seen. And I just thought he lacked some top tier developmental traits that would really turn him into a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Pickett had an up and down season in 2022. He didn't have the best statistical season. He had 2,404 yards, a 63% completion percentage, as well as 7 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He went 7-6 in the games he played. So decent stats in year one, but definitely want to see that touchdown and interception ratio much better moving forward in year two. Now, I will say he was mostly just acting in the role as a game manager in Matt Canada's offense, which really didn't let him push the ball downfield very much. He did have 6.2 yards per attempt. Matt Canada's offense really doesn't push the ball down the field very much, and he really wasn't asked to do a whole lot. I do think that that is the next step in his development, really. Now, Matt Canada is a terrible offensive coordinator. I think most Steelers fans would absolutely agree with that, but Pickett absolutely has to push the ball down the field more in his second year as a sophomore. But even with an up and down rookie season, a lot of quarterbacks in their first year have a rough statistical season. I mean, you take a look at guys that didn't either play or just weren't as good in year one. You can look at Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. All of the top quarterbacks weren't necessarily great their rookie year. They really took that jump in year two. Now, the question is, are the Steelers going to get a similar jump from Kenny Pickett as he goes into a sophomore season? In order to see if Pickett is likely to take that jump, I dove into some of his film from his rookie season to really kind of see where he is at this point. Now, I will say the first thing I really look for quarterbacks is arm strength. And I will say this was something that I noted as a potential concern for Pickett going into the NFL. I thought that he had some plays where he really didn't look very strong with his velocity. He has plenty of juice to throw a back shoulder fade. He was really effective on those. He can certainly throw the ball, deep downfield to give his guy a shot on a go ball. That's not my concern when it comes to the arm strength. It's more the arm velocity and his ability to really get a lot of whip on the ball when his feet are not set, when his base isn't exactly how he wants it to be. Is he still able to get the ball there on time and on target? I do think that the ball flutters a bit. I don't think he's necessarily able to get that velocity that he really looks for when his feet aren't set, when he is off platform. And so I do think that is something that he is just going to be a little bit more limited on. Now, that doesn't mean that that's going to be a trait that destroys his career. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Joe Burrow, they don't have the strongest arms in the NFL, but they were able to make up for it with great anticipation, great timing, great accuracy. It does just make the margin for error a little bit smaller when it comes to Kenny Pickett reading the defense, making decisions, his accuracy. It all just has to be a little bit better than somebody like Josh Allen who can just rocket the ball into a tight window. Looking at Kenny Pickett's accuracy in his rookie season, I thought it was generally pretty good. He had a 63% completion percentage. That's a strong mark as a rookie. And I thought generally he was able to get the ball where it needed to go with anticipation and good accuracy. Now, I will say that, as we noted before, Matt Canada's offense really doesn't push the ball down the field. A lot of his throws were low risk. They weren't very difficult throws. And a lot of times they were just checkdowns or predetermined reads where Pickett really wasn't asked to read a full field or really, throw it into a super tight window over the middle. Now, that is something that I do think Pickett has the ability to do, but he really didn't show it much as a rookie because of the offensive scheme. So I will be curious to see if he's able to, continue and maintain those high accuracy numbers as the throws get a bit more difficult in year two. I will say that when it comes to decision making, I do think that is a bit of an overblown issue when it comes to Kenny Pickett's rookie season. I get it, he had more interceptions than he did touchdowns, but I really don't think that there was much to be concerned with when it comes to his interceptions and turnovers on tape. He had 3 interceptions in his debut against the Jets. His very first throw was intercepted on a ball that Claypool really probably should have caught or at least contested for. It got tipped and intercepted. There was another one that was a Hail Mary in that game. The other one threw it to Pat Freiermuth, was a bit high, but it got tipped right to the defense. He was just a bit unlucky when it came to interceptions, tip balls, drop balls. His wide receivers really weren't helping him out a ton when it came to that. I do think that, you would like to see those turnover numbers come down a little bit. 9 interceptions in 13 games isn't problematic by any means. Well, I do think it is certainly something that he can improve on. The decision making really isn't a major concern for me. They seem to come in bunches. He had a couple against Miami as well. Some of those a little bit worse than, the game against the Jets. I would say there was probably about 5 interceptions really fully on him this season. That's really nothing to be concerned about. So that was not something that I really had any problems with when it came to Kenny Pickett's rookie year. Not something that I expect to be a big problem moving forward. I will say, though, he really shouldn't have a lot of turnovers in an offense that doesn't ask him to push the ball down the field. I think Kenny Pickett's film in year one was really a mixed bag. He had some really strong moments. He showed some good leadership. I thought he had good accuracy, timing, decision-making, and overall, I thought that he showed a lot of the good things that made him successful in college. I also do expect some of the shortcomings that he did show in college, including his arm strength, perhaps some of his pocket presence. I do think that there were times that, he really did show that those were still issues in his game at the NFL level. I do expect him to have a much better season in year 2 statistically. I also think that he developed a really nice rapport with George Pickens throughout the year, and it really got good at the end of the year as well. Back shoulder fades, really giving his guy a chance to go up and get it, especially Pickens made the most of those opportunities there. I expect him to be the wide receiver 1 for the Steelers this upcoming season, and him and Pickett to really have a nice connection in year 2. I expect Pickett's season to be around 3,500 yards, probably about 25 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. Very respectable numbers, nothing too crazy, but I would expect Pickett to take a nice jump there statistically for this upcoming season. And so that brings us to the question of, is Kenny Pickett a franchise-level quarterback for the Steelers? To me, that all depends on what your definition of a franchise quarterback is. If it's somebody that can get you to the playoffs every year, be a really good quarterback with good talent around him, and probably, be able to put up some good numbers, I think Kenny Pickett can absolutely be that player. Now, if you think a franchise quarterback is somebody that can really elevate the talent around them, really kind of get the most out of their players regardless of the scheme, regardless of, a play breaking down, I'm not sure if Kenny Pickett is necessarily going to be that type of player. To me, I'm more the school of thought where that franchise level quarterback really needs to be an elevator, somebody that can be really good regardless of the talent and the scheme around him. I'm not sure that Pickett's ever going to be that kind of player. And so for the sake of the argument, I will say I do not believe that Kenny Pickett will ever be, a top 10 quarterback. I expect him to be in that 10 to 18 range for a very long time for the Steelers, be a very successful quarterback and put up good numbers, but maybe not to that level of what I consider a franchise quarterback. Let me know down below what you think. Is Kenny Pickett going to be a franchise quarterback? How is he going to perform in year 2? If you like this kind of content, please hit that subscribe button down below. It's a free and easy way to support the channel and would really help me on my goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers by the beginning of the 2023 NFL season. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will catch you in the next one.